I'm Joshua Potts, Mr. Pottsable, and you're watching Trackish, where we talk to the biggest high school track and field stars and show them their personalities on the biggest stage. But this time, we have a little bit of a twist. We have a pro win the ranks right now, also on the FloTrack Athletes Lounge, talking to Diamond League athletes every single week. And she's done some amazing things from high school all the way to being a pro. Honestly, she's a Hall of Famer at Oregon, did her thing there. A multiple time New Jersey state champion when she was in high school. She was also a two-time national champion when she was a pro, a two-time Olympian. Honestly, it's simply amazing. An English Gardner is joining us on Trackish English. Thank you so much for being here. Like, we truly have a legend in the midst at the moment.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm super excited. I've heard good things about Trackish, and I'm just glad that I'm able to get on.
No, absolutely. And you're coming off a super great week with the Athletes Lounge at the Prefontaine Classic, one of the best pre-classics I think we've seen ever, and there's been so many great ones. I remember after, I believe it was the 2021 Olympics, that year was simply like phenomenal, the pre-classic, but this one kind of just like was just about the same level. Talk about that experience being Eugene. You've been there so many different times, but just what you guys are doing in the Athletes Lounge just had to make this one even more special being the first year with it.
Yes, Athletes Lounge has definitely won my heart over these past few months. Like just seeing this brand build into something that is, that you really dream about, a space where athletes can come, have a great time, feel safe enough to share their stories, share their information, share their thoughts on how they're running, how they're living, and just overall give the fans an opportunity to see behind the scenes of like, what it takes to be an athlete, what the mindset of an athlete is. And so I think that the Athletes Lounge has definitely given athletes that opportunity to be able to share these things and to have it at pre. I mean, last weekend was like a dream.
Yeah.
I got to go back home, my home away from home. I'm a Jersey girl, but Oregon has stole my heart, and I definitely am an Oregonian, whether I live in New Jersey or not. But being home, being around family, being at my old Hero Field, and being able to see all of these, smiling faces that I've seen in college for so many years, and be around companies, and to be there with FloTrack, and it be a little bit different than normal,
Yeah.
because usually I show up at pre and I'm running. But I actually turned down a lane to be able to participate into
Wow.
the Athletes Lounge because it actually means like that much to me. It's been an opportunity that I don't take lightly. And I'm just excited that it was one of the best shows I think we've had, honestly. All of us were able to be there in person because normally I'm remote and Central is remote, but we were there in person. We got to talk to some legends, we got to talk to some great people. We got bombed by Tara Davis, so that was good. She came and video bombed us, but it was great. It was a great space, so I was super excited to be in Eugene.
No, that's really cool. Definitely one of your guys' best shows this past week, and to have everybody there. We had Trey on about a month ago now. Man, time definitely flies, and we got to talk all about the Athletes Lounge. It's just this unique, dynamic viewing experience for all type of fans. That's so where it's like the Manning cast that you see on ESPN, but with legendary track and field athletes and athletes like yourself that's doing it right now in this moment, has been doing it for years. Uh, what attracted you first to just taking this job on and doing the athletes lounge? And then what do you feel like you really bring that's special to the table, being someone that's actively competing at the moment?
So when I was approached by the Athletes Lounge, I was in between transitions. I was doing contract negotiations with Nike. I was trying to figure out whether I was going to retire,
Yeah.
honestly, and just focus on, the latter half of my career and just try to find my niche. And honestly, I was praying about it. I was praying to God about it, trying to ask him, like, what direction do I go in? Where do I go? And about 2 weeks after that prayer, I got approached by Ryan Fenton.
Hmm.
And he was just like, we love your personality and we would love for you to be able to come and contribute to our new show that we're putting out. And without hesitation, I kind of just was like, yeah, let's do it, because
Hmm.
I wasn't really desperate to do anything at that moment, but I knew that opportunities like this don't really come that often, where you are in a transition in track and field. A lot of track runners, once they're done running, they're just done and they're
Yeah.
not involved in the sport anymore, and they don't have any other outlets. But it was almost like God was showing me, like, look, I know you're not mentally done running, but let me show you what else I have in store for you. Let me
Hmm.
show you what else your life can like entail. And I've always been an athlete that wasn't afraid to talk to media, wasn't afraid to um, just let my story be out and be honest and be transparent with fans and stuff like that. So it just kind of was like a no-brainer. And even prior years, like my father has always told me, like, yo, you got to get into broadcasting. And he would tell me all the time, like, watch different sports and get into different things. And so I started watching a little bit more football, a little bit more basketball, baseball, just learning new sports just to kind of get myself transitioned for that. So when this opportunity came for me to be talking about track, I was like,
Yeah.
I can talk about track in my sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the sport so much. And so it was just a no-brainer for me. And I was like, let's just do it. And I am slowly but surely falling in love with it. I would definitely say this past show in pre, I definitely have realized that like I'm into this. Like I like being able to give athletes a voice, and I feel like when it comes to me, I've always had a way of being able to put things into words that most people can't, and to just be this motivational speech and part that the show kind of needs. And I because I also am still competing, I'm able to bring that, this is what these people are thinking right now because I'm still in the fire, I'm still burning with these athletes. And so it's just, it's fun to be able to give both parts, and it's helped me as an athlete. I
Hmm.
mean, being able to like watch my competition run and I'm not on the line, and I can see like their strengths, their weaknesses, and I'm looking at it in a commentator lens. It kind of gives me a different view on what track and field is and what it brings to the table, and also almost like calming me down a little bit too as an athlete because I'm able to digest things. Like when you're a commentator, you realize like the meat comes, the competition is high, the meet's over, and it's on to the next.
Yeah.
And that kind of gave me the opportunity as an athlete to be able to like, okay, the world isn't ending if I have a bad race. The world doesn't end if I don't compete as well as I should.
I feel like you slid in an important piece that maybe a lot of even just high school athletes and that miss and may start even getting that when they get to college is that the importance of like watching film and watching your own race video back, like you being there every single week and seeing what's happening, and then you get to have talk to them right after the race. One of my favorite interviews that you guys did was like with Anivia Battle and like all the wins that she had, and she was just so tired after 200, could barely understand y'all, but that's just a great perspective to have. But with that, just the consistently of watching film, you have to be a fan of the sport to do that. When did you become a fan of track and field?
Ooh. I remember my first experience with track was I was randomly digging through my grandmom's closet, just being nosy and looking at all of the photo albums and all that stuff like that. And I ran across a photo and newspaper clippings of my father,
Mm,
who I had never really like experienced track and field before that. So to see like my dad was good at something and I never was introduced to it, like I felt some type of way. So I stole the clippings and then I went home and I told my dad, I was like, why didn't you ever tell me about this? And like, what is this about? And I was about 7 years old at the time. So I really didn't know much about it. I just wanted to know why my dad was so cool and how he was in the newspaper.
yeah.
And that's how I got introduced to the sport. From there, I watched film, which is crazy because in full circle now, that's what I'm always doing. But I remember watching a track meet, and it actually just became popular again this year because the young lady did it at her track meet, in her high school track meet. But I watched Maurice Green spray his shoes with the fire extinguisher,
Yeah.
and that lit me on fire. And I was like, yo, I want to do this. I want to run track. I want to know everything about it. And so I believe like 2 weeks later, my dad signed me up for Willenboro Track Club, which Carl Lewis's parents had started because I'm from the same town that he
Hmm.
grew up in. And so I ran for his track club and I was hooked from then. And I just couldn't let it go. I think I won my first national championship for AAU around 9 years old. And then after that, it's been
Yeah.
an addiction. It's been an addiction for sure. And a good one too, because I look back and I can go to my 10 year uh class reunion and I still look great. So, so I'm glad about this addiction. But yeah, that's when I really got hooked on it. I will contribute that to just watching how cool Maurice Green was. That's why I was just like so excited that that little girl even attempted that in high school because
Yeah.
it's like that dream is still that moment is still captivating young people in this
Hmm.
sport because it definitely captivated me.
English, I have a gauntlet of you of trivia questions. I got three right here. This is
Hmm.
the track is trivia that we always have with each guest that we bring on. We know we want people to be informed about the sport just overall. Some of this stuff is gonna deal with you too. So, hey, let's see if you know what you've done in the past. All right, here we go.
Okay.
First question. How many, well, this is 2024. How many New Jersey born athletes competed in the 2024 Paris Olympics as a whole?
Ooh.
So we got here, I got some multiple choice for you. We got 15, 23, or 32. New Jersey, y'all be doing it big. Y'all be doing it big.
I'm gonna go with 23. Hey.
Right on the money, right on the money, right on the money. Like Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone,
Yeah,
a
yeah. And
thing
then we
Mo.
have a lot of people in other sports too.
Yeah,
Like we have field hockey players that went one year. Like in 2016, we had like three field hockey players. So I was like, okay, yeah, this number might be a little high.
and it's the same with also your alma mater, Oregon, always has dominant, such a wide across variety of people at the Olympics. So I'm gonna go to 2016, the first time that you went to the Olympics. How many former University of Oregon athletes medaled at the 2016 Olympics in track and field? Was it six, 10, or four?
Let's go six.
I thought that one was too
I'm
easy for you.
killing
You're
it.
right.
I'm killing it.
That was a great year for y'all. English
It
Gardner,
was.
obviously
It
you,
was.
Phyllis
It was.
Francis,
Jenna
Centro.
Prandini, Centro. Yeah, I mean, we were stacked. Ari went too.
Yep.
It was like she was a young one too, and she went. Deja Stevens attended, I think.
I think so. I think Deja Stevens.
She was an alternate, maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we had some stacked people in that, and the Ducks took over that Olympics for sure.
for real, for real. All right, last one. We're gonna go back to the high school days. Who was US number one in the 100 meter in your senior year of high school track in 2010? Was it Jenna Prandini, Ashton Purvis, or Octavius Freeman?
Oh, I know this. This is Ashton Purvis, I think. Yeah,
You
yeah.
crushed it. You
What
crushed it.
my dad didn't play. It's one thing he always let me. I always had a hit list. You know what I'm saying? Even now as a pro, like I love my competitors. I respect them all. I am probably the most non-problematic sprinter in the game, but I do have a hit list. So
Yeah,
I should have known that question.
that's
Shout out to
awesome.
Ashton Purvis and shout out to her sister Amber Purvis because she was actually my teammate.
Wow, wow. Ashton, she ran 11:17. You were
Yep.
US number 8 that year, and you ran
Hmm.
11:56. I was
Yeah.
looking through it, English. Right now, if you would have ran 11:56, you wouldn't even be in the top 150 in the US.
Yes. It's crazy. I call it track inflation. I don't know. I don't know if it's the GMO in the food or what, but these kids are moving.
And I want to transition to that and talk about a little bit of your high school days. And I think your experience in high school can help a lot of these kids where they're at, or even just coaches or parents that are watching that are trying to motivate their kids now. Because especially like your freshman year, like you said, 9 years old, you're winning AAU national championships. You come in your freshman year and like you're winning New Jersey State's meet of champions. Like you are a contender right away. What I'm curious though from you, like, what was the biggest challenge of finding such early success in high school? and trying to maintain that for 4 years, especially in such a competitive area of being New Jersey in the Northeast?
Yes, my biggest challenge to try to find early success and to maintain it was really just understanding my goals. If you ask a lot of people in the Jersey area, how was I as a young athlete? A lot of them will tell you that I was super serious and like I really didn't like play about track and field in my career. I had set goals. I knew the I guess you could say I knew the path that I needed to take to get there, but I also understood that my mom always says there's many ways to skin a cat.
Hmm.
And so I I I knew that I couldn't control things outside of my control. So I couldn't control the weather in New Jersey. I couldn't control the fact that we don't get warm weather until later in the year. So a lot of these girls who are in California, in Texas, in Tennessee's and all these hot places, like they're gonna be able to run times faster than me earlier and
Mm.
be in great training earlier than I would. I mean, I was trying to sneak into the bubbles at Egg Harbor and New York, just trying to get into anywhere I could get in because it snows here.
Yeah.
And so there were some things that I couldn't control, but there was things that I could, and that was my attitude, my work ethic, how I approached track meets, how I carried myself. And so I acted as a professional track athlete at 9 years old. And so that carried into my high school career, that carried into college, and then it made my transition into pro very easy. And so I often tell, I'm a coach as well. I have a coaching business. Shout out to the Grind Lab. We coach people from middle school all the way up to high school, but I also coach NFL players to their 40s and their combine prep.
Mm.
And I often tell these people, you have to have the certain like mentality, the certain professional mentality about yourself because you are the only person that is required to show up for you. Everybody doesn't have to. Your coach doesn't have to come with his best A game in practice if he doesn't want to, but you do. And you can't withdraw something that you haven't deposited. So I made sure that like as a young athlete, like from day one, I mean, already starting until like I said, when I was 9 years old, I ran 53.98 as an eighth grader, but I did that because I didn't see myself as an eighth grader. I saw myself as a professional track athlete. So I was going to sleep at night. I was making sure I took in my hydration, all of my nutrition. I was doing everything I could to just really prepare myself to be the best person I could be so that if any involuntary thing came up that I could not control, that I knew that everything else I already dotted my I's and crossed my T's, and I didn't have
Mm.
to worry about it. And so I think that that definitely gave me my success, and I never really worried about what others in the world were doing. I focused on what I had at hand and who I was at that time. And so, yeah, I did know that Ashton Purvis was running super, super fast, in high school, but I also knew that like I wouldn't have to race her until like Nike Nationals.
Yeah.
So I just had to maintain the person that I was. So cliche, but I had to basically focus on my lane. I had to focus on me and my lane and what I was doing. And when it came down to it, whoever I was on the line with, I was ready to compete with.
Hmm.
Didn't matter if you ran super faster than me or it didn't matter if you were stronger than me. When we stepped on the line, I was a gamer and I was a competitor and I was just willing to go toe to toe with anybody. So I
Yeah.
think that's what contributed to my success because I really just honed in on me and what I could control and who I was.
How helpful was that for you when you got to Oregon? Because kind of like looking at it too, like you weren't US number one, coming out of high school, your junior year didn't go as you wanted, tearing your ACL and like sitting out most of that, but you're still able to get to go to Oregon and like you went there and you immediately started like tearing it up and then went on to win national titles and was really like um, and that led to USA's and running 10-7, like soon after that. Like it for someone that was super talented in New Jersey and being like someone that's not the top person, like you quickly rose to being the top person once you went to college. how much of that, what you learned in high school, really helped you in college to be the person that you became?
So it's really crazy to think about because like I never really took the time to sit aside and be like, yo, you really weren't like one of the fastest people in the world, but then you just popped up and became one. Like I never thought about it like that because it's like even when I wasn't in my head, I was. You know, like I always had that belief that I was the fastest woman alive. And it's still to this day. Like I just feel like I've done so many things in the track world, but my potential that I believe that I have inside me, like I haven't even shown the world yet. And so to go into Oregon and not be in the top one, there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to be an NCAA champion. I remember going in my freshman year and telling the rest of my class that I came in with like, this is our school. This
Yeah.
is our NCAA. Like we're running this. And I came in. It was Michael Berry, Phyllis Francis. It was a hot class,
Mm.
and I was definitely one of the ones who like pulled everybody aside and was like, "This belongs to us, and nobody is taking this from us." And so we're gonna make sure that every day we put the work in to become that. And my freshman year, I walked into my coach's office and I wrote 10-9-1 on his whiteboard, like big. Like I filled his whole board with it. We used to have meetings before every season to just decipher like what the plan is, where we're gonna go. And so this is like the first time me and my coach were really having like a serious conversation about what was going on. And I looked him dead in his eyes and I looked at Robert Johnson and I was like, look, man, I'm gonna make you one of the best coaches in the world. I'm telling you now, I'm making you one of the best coaches in the world. All you have to do is just bring your A game to practice. I'm going to bring 110%. You bring 110%. We're going to make this plan work and we're going to get the job done. And I wrote 1091 on his board. And I said, I'm running 10-9 my freshman year. And he looked at me like I was crazy. He was like, yeah, let's think about like 11-0.
Yeah.
And so I basically just told him, I was like, I know what you feel I'm going to run, but I'm telling you, I'm running 10-9-1. And that's something that has been with me, like, even when I ran 10-7. I told Ralph Mann, rest his soul, right before, like, I would say, like, 10 weeks before we ran the Olympic trials that year, he had told me there's no way you're running faster than 10-8 because you just won't fix this about your form. You won't do this, you won't do that. And I remember looking at him like, you can't account scientifically what my God given ability is. You can't account that. Numbers don't account for that. Numbers can't account for the dog that's inside me. Numbers don't account for how bad I want it. Numbers don't account for my belief. Numbers don't account for the anointing that's on my life and how God has favored me. Like I know what I've been blessed to do, and I physically have been blessed to run fast. It's not my only gift, but it's a gift that I didn't take lightly when I
Mm.
when I received it as a young girl. And so I told him then, I was like, I'm running 10-7. I'm going to win Olympic trials. Like that belief system that I've had has always been there. It has never not been there. And I think a lot of people underestimate how much mentally track and field is.
I hope everybody, if you weren't writing notes, that you rewind it back like 5 minutes and like, man, rewind back to the beginning and take notes on everything because that's definitely essential. Just having a plan when you go into college, especially when you're just going
Absolutely.
into high school, especially if you're just going into your sophomore year, having a plan makes all the difference in the world for
It
you
does.
and for everyone around you to keep you accountable, something that's super vital for like any athlete
Yeah.
whatsoever, or any part of life that you're in whatsoever, especially. But last thing, English, now I have you get out of here. Man, what makes this sport so fun? Like I know that's like a broad question, but I think it's an essential question to ask, especially on trackish. What makes this sport so fun and especially for you?
I think that this sport is a sport that tests the human body and the physicality of the human body to its end, right? And a lot of sports use our sport as their sport's punishment. So in my mind, track and field breeds warriors, regardless, because you have to be a certain kind of caliber athlete to do every other sport's punishment. When football misses a play, they run. When basketball misses a play, they do suicides and they run. We run because we want to. So you got to kind of be a different kind of person altogether. But what makes it fun is that I hated playing basketball and having the best game of my life and still losing the game.
Yeah.
It drove me nuts. And so when I got into track and field and I realized I'm in control, it's up to me. Only I'm in between these lanes. I can't hide behind a quarterback. I can't let my point guard just do all the work and just sit at the 3-point line. Like, I have to execute, I have to perform. I think that's what makes this sport so cool. And it's like our sport is in every other sport. And 9 times out of 10, people say like, "Oh, track runners can't leave track and go to another sport." I don't think that's true
Mm-hmm.
because I was a track runner first, but I jumped on a basketball court. I was a track runner first, and I was able to jump into a flag football game and play football. You know what I mean? So it's like we have such versatility, and I often see a lot of people from other sports come into our sport and think that they're going to be great and end up realizing that they're only average in our sport. Shout out to Tyreek Hill. I think he's a great sprinter. I think he's a fast football player. I think he's super quick on the football field. When it comes to track and field, though, it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of components that come with it. And so I think that's what makes our sport fun. It's like it's you, me, myself, and I'm on a track, and numbers don't lie. You can have political in football, you can have political in basketball, political in every other team sport. But when it comes to track and field, you can hate me all you want, but if I run fast, you can't do shit about it. And that's what makes it great. You can't change anything about it. So I think that's what makes it so much fun is that like, I'm in control and nobody can take away what's already mine.
Absolutely. There ain't no hiding in this sport. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Ain't no hiding in this sport. But English, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate you so much dropping in on Trackish. We're all going to be tuned into the Athletes Lounge as the Diamond League season continues. And after pre-classic, it's really all just heating up, just
Oh yeah.
going forward.
Championship time, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. But thank you and best of luck to the crew going the rest of the season.
Thank you. I love being on Trackish, man. This is awesome.